came over here with the intention to do a bit, but I can't remember what it is. I guess I'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
You like that? I just came with that right on the fly. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that was pretty good.
So this is like my last wrap to like wrap the last two movies I wanted to review before I make my best and worst list of 2020. And I kept hearing really good things about this one, so I wanted to check it out. And
this is Palm Springs.
Palm Springs. This camera's cooking and it's bothering me. It's gonna be an awkward part of the show, but we're going for it. No, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's worse.
That's way worse.
That's worse. There we go.
There you go. Okay, there we go. That's better. So yeah, this is Palm Springs, like Groundhog Day, but summer, basically.
I think they're like in literally Palm Springs. Okay. I get
Yeah,
it.
they're actually in. It took you this long to figure out the title.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Palm Springs, California.
Yeah, Palm Springs, California. It's all about. I almost said Jake Gyllenhaal. It's like I know that's not right.
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg. I've been thinking like I've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine for the first time.
For sure.
Like while watching the movie, so I just think like, oh, it's Jake.
Oh, right. Okay, you got that. You got that in the brain.
That was my connection.
Yeah, for sure.
But Andy Samberg stars a character that is at a wedding for his girlfriend's girlfriend's friend or family.
Yeah. He's basically the date for one of the bridesmaids for this wedding that he's been at for basically 1,000,000 times over.
Yes, because he found a cave nearby in the desert that turns out like catches him in a time loop, and he's been stuck that way. Like when the movie starts, he's already like deep into this time loop.
He's done this quite a few times.
He's done this quite a few times, and then this new character comes along. I forget her name.
I don't remember the actress either.
I mean, IMDb it, but anyway, there's this woman that they introduced to that.
She's the sister of the bride.
Sister of the bride. She's kind of like the family screw up. Very kind of just a hot mess of a person who meets Andy Samberg at this wedding. Well, first time for her, 1,000,000th time for him.
They're hitting it off, and then
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons' character comes along and just shoots a fucking crossbow in his back, and then it's like, yeah, I'm getting hunted, by the way.
Yeah, I did not pick up that was J.K. Simmons with hers. Because for a brief second, I don't know why I thought this, but I swear to God, the camouflage he wear made him look like an ape face. So I thought it was just a humanoid ape that was chasing him for the first bit. So I was like, what the fuck is happening in this movie?
That's Roy.
By the way, we have no context for answer when this happens, so he just like turns like, "You're a sick man, Roy!" as he runs away, and that's the most context you get out of it.
So he's been in this time loop, and
Sarah. Sarah's the name of the girl,
right.
played by Kristen Milotti.
Yeah. That's my best guess.
Yeah. But long story short, she gets stuck in the time loop too, and then the movie is basically about them connecting and trying to figure out their way in this weird life, and if they can even get out of it, and
or if anything matters.
Or if anything matters. This nihilism is a big theme of this movie, which is very. Yeah, that's kind of the theme of a lot of Groundhog Day movies. Now that I think about it. And I will give her credit because like Groundhog Day movies are kind of tricky because it feels like there's only so much you can do with it. And I felt like every Groundhog Day, the original movies, like you've done everything you can with this concept. I don't know what else you could do with it. And then it turns out I was like, well, what if somebody happens like what if somebody hopped in mid Groundhog Day? It's like, oh, okay,
or
that's new.
Yeah. So the thing is that J.K. Simmons. Character.
Don't get too much into spoilers yet.
Well, you already mentioned the cave.
Fair enough. Well, that's like in the first 5 minutes of the movie. You see the cave.
That's fine.
I'm like nothing we described happens like goes past the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. But basically, there's something about this cave that causes time loops.
I don't even think they ever tell us directly.
You don't.
It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
It's the device, Mike.
I mean, like that's one thing I was like about Groundhog Day. Is that the original movie is that it's just like, yeah, this happens. We're not gonna tell you why. Like it doesn't matter. We don't care. It just happens one day. Why? Fuck you. That's why. Now you're stuck with it. Good job. Enjoy the movie. But yeah, by the time we meet Eddie Samberg's character. He's very cynical. He's very nihilistic.
He just like constantly drinks beer, hangs out in the pool, always wears like a Hawaiian shirt and like swim trunks, like attends the wedding in swim trunks, like does not give a fuck.
No, he's at this point where he's clearly been stuck in this for God knows how long. He just doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
So first, I think we should get like general thoughts of the movie. I actually really, really like this movie.
Yeah, I usually enjoy time loop movies just because like, either I think with with Groundhog Day, he just got out of it one day.
Well, it's because he found true love. That's why he got out of it.
Yeah, he just got out of it one day. Or one of my favorite time loops as a trope is in Stargate SG-1. Basically, two characters get caught in a time loop, and then like they have to like try and research a little bit every day to try and figure it out. But then at one point, the smart guy in the show is like, well, theoretically, you could just goof off for like, I don't know, 10 or 20 cycles and it doesn't really matter. And so they're playing golf, they're like, they just truly don't give a fuck.
Well, one thing I like about this movie's approach to it is the fact that they made the stakes pretty much largely emotional and human-based, which I appreciate. So it's not just everything doesn't matter so you can do whatever you want, because he clearly has rules like, this is what I don't do. This is where I don't, like, this is the line I won't cross. He even says explicitly at points like, no, you can't just be cruel, you can't be you can't go on a rampage because you still have to live with that.
That's fair, yeah.
So it's sort of like, it's an exploration of nihilism in that it's a shield to actually feel things. Because, of course, like, the thing about nihilism as a concept is the fact that it's predicated on the fact that nothing matters, so you don't have to be invested in anything. But of course, anyone who actually tries to live life knows that's largely bullshit. It's a cynical viewpoint, and it conflates with reality. Is like, yeah, there's a lot of life worth living, but you risk being disappointed by it if it doesn't go your way. And I feel like that's a large central theme of this movie. Because with Andy Samberg's nihilism going on, he's already assuming that everything's going to end up be the same, so nothing matters. I can do whatever I want, but except that's not true because even he has his own rules.
Right.
So he's already going against his own philosophy. Sarah's character, on the other hand, is already in that depths of that disappointment. She's disappointed with herself. She's disappointed in her life trajectory. She keeps hoping for life, but keeps being constantly disappointed by it, which is why she's not necessarily cynical, but depressed and having emotional issues at the start of the movie.
I don't think I could say anything else without going to spoilers.
I know, I'm talking in very broad strokes here.
Yeah.
And on that note, these two characters have very good chemistry together. It's not spoilers. Say it's a romantic comedy. It's in the genre description, and they do have a very good romance. They do some of the antics are very, very funny. The pirate cake routine was a particular standout.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And just how they explore the fun thing about having a Groundhog Day movie is this. I know everybody's name here. I have slept with her twice. He's accidentally stabbed him one time, that kind of thing.
He's fucked me in the butt,
Yeah, that went weird places, that happened no matter what I did. That kind of stuff is always that fun element to play with.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's done to great effect here. This is a very cleverly done genre movie. Your thoughts? I feel like we did most of the talking so far.
Oh, yeah, no, I can't disagree on anything. I just... what am I going to say? No, the movie was good for this reason.
Well, you can add to it. We've done this for years, Howard. You should know how this works.
I'm coming back to reviewing, man. I've got to get back in the swing of things.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's, let's see. No, I don't think there's much that you haven't said already.
All right, do you just want to jump into spoilers then?
Yeah, let's just jump into spoilers.
All right, it's on Hulu. I highly recommend it. It's a good watch. Go see it. Okay, let's talk about spoilers. So, the one thing I want to talk about first and foremost is J.K. Simmons. Now that we can actually talk about him. So, his character is that basically, on a drunken night early on during the whole time loop thing, Andy Samberg...
Oh, wait, before we continue on the spoilers, there is a stinger at the end of the movie that I didn't know about. There we go. Now we can go.
Yeah, which... I'm glad that Stinger was there because I was very upset when we finished the movie.
Right.
Otherwise, because like, well, they get out, but J.K. Simmons is still stuck in this hellish purgatory.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? And I was like, and I Googled it, like, what happens to J.K. Simmons after Palm Springs?
Right.
And it was like, the Stainer. I'm like, the Stainer? Go back, rewind. Watch it, like, oh, thank God he's okay.
Yeah.
But J.K. Simmons has a very interesting relationship in the movie in that he kind of represents, like, the turnaround from nihilism and nothing matters, so I'm just going to do whatever I want, to, hey, this matters because I've given it meaning.
Right, for sure. Just sort of like, well, I mean, to be fair, it is Andy Samberg's fault, his character's fault, that he ended up in the time loop, because it was just sort of like a be careful what you wish for kind of situation for Roy. I don't remember Andy Samberg's character's name.
It's Andy Samberg being Andy Samberg. He's very, very, very good in this movie, but it's still like definitely clearly.
It's
an
just
Andy Samberg
very
character.
Clearly Andy Samberg.
It's a very Andy Samberg character.
I feel like it was like
Niles.
Niles, yeah. Niles is just he hangs out with J.K. Simmons. He hangs out with Roy one day. They get way too high on coke. It's like early on in the time loop, and he's like, "Hey, you know what would be a great idea? J.K. Simmons' character's like, I want this day to last for fucking ever." And so he's like, "Hey, you know what we should do? Let's go to the cave that creates time loops."
Yeah, and he regrets it when he does it. Like, he kind of sobers up, like, when J.K. Simmons starts walking in the cave and realizes, like, oh god, this is a terrible mistake, and like tries to stop it, but by then it's too late.
It's way too late.
So J.K. Simmons retroactively is like, I'm gonna hunt this motherfucker periodically for no goddamn reason other than revenge.
Yeah.
And it leads to like a pretty dark montage. I think there's one where
I mean, my favorite one is like, you said you wanted the day to last forever. I gave you exactly what you want.
So there's a lot of death montages. He's kind of like the antagonist for the first half of the movie. Even then, he doesn't really show up that much. He mostly shows up to be a cop like halfway through.
I think the threat of Roy possibly showing up is sort of paints him as the antagonist throughout the movie. Even near the end when he's just like, hey, can you kill me for old time's sake?
Yeah. But like, what kind of flips it around is Niles and Sarah like are getting to know each other. They first started really make waves together. Like they had sex in the time loop for the first time, kind of thing.
I don't think they had sex in the first time loop.
No, I said for the first time in the time loop.
Oh, right.
And then the next day is when Roy comes out and dresses up as a cop.
Yeah.
And Sarah at this point kind of snaps after Andy Samberg's character reveals that they've actually slept together many times. Mm-hmm. And she takes that as betrayal of trust, as well she should, because he did lie about it. And proceeds to run over Roy with a police car.
I thought Sarah was sort of having her mental breakdown because she was like, oh, I have something really great with this guy that I'm stuck here with eternity, but every day I wake up cheating on
my best friend.
Cheating on my sister's fiance.
With my sister's fiance. Yeah, you're right. That did come first.
And it would feel like, I feel like, because like other time loops where there's a secondary character involved, it's just sort of like, the first character is like, yeah, I was just doing something pretty mundane, like, right? Like, I woke up, or in Russian Doll, it's like, I was using the bathroom, or in Groundhog's Day, it's just that fucking song.
No, you're right, because they make the point to establish every time she wakes up, she immediately gets out of bed and runs out of the room.
Yeah, but they don't reveal it, right?
They don't reveal it until she sleeps with Niles.
Yeah.
And then she sleeps in a little longer and wakes up to the guy to the fiance coming back in, and which is where the guilt comes back.
Yeah. So her wake up situation is, just knowing that that's what she has to do with eternity, is knowing that she did something tremendously awful. Yeah.
No, you're right. That did come first, and then the reveal came after Roy fake arrested them.
Yeah. And then also I think there was one. It is Stargate SG-1. So Richard Dean Anderson's character is ignoring a conversation while eating cereal with the other person trapped with him in that time loop. His time loop begins by getting a door slammed into his face every time. So, yeah. So sometimes it's fun and sometimes it's, oh, I cheated.
Sometimes it's heavily guilt-inducing to make you feel like a shit person.
Yeah,
understandably.
So, after that reveal, I was like, you know what? I would totally want out of the time loop too.
Yeah, I think he'd want out of that in general, but it's more like what's gonna like. Now I'm gonna go from just lamenting my situation to I'm gonna study the fuck out of quantum physics, which is what ends up happening. But before he realized that's what she's been doing, Andy Samberg reveals that they slept together many times. This is like the last straw for her. She runs over. She runs over Roy first, and then that happens. But meanwhile, her reaction was just Roy looking over, bleeding on the road, going, "Who the fuck is that?" And it'll be my favorite moment because it looks like him looking utterly betrayed, dude, this is our thing. You dragged somebody else into this.
You didn't fucking learn the lesson the first time around.
I think somebody actually says at one point. But
yeah. I think that was almost the quote.
But that's also the turnaround because it breaks Andy Samberg and her apart. They spend the good chunk of the movie afterwards separated. Andy Samberg kind of realizes it's okay to hope again. Or, goes to his lowest, in which case he goes to J.K. Simmons, just kill me. Just kill me, I don't want to go home.
I think what was happening with Niles at that moment is, how much Sarah really meant to him, even though he was putting on this facade that nothing really matters. And so that's why he went to Roy. And then Roy is like, by the way, my day was perfectly fine. Before I got stuck in this time loop.
Well, because you're first off, you're absolutely right. And Roy basically says when she ran me over, it took me a long time to die, so I had a lot of time to think in the ICU and work through some stuff. And then he at that point, he's kind of found his peace with the situation. Not that it's a good situation, but just I
don't think he found peace. It was just he was just understanding the pain he was causing, because
that's kind of finding peace with it though.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, finding peace isn't the same thing as being happy.
Okay. I guess we have different. I visualize that a little different.
Because finding peace means I recognize, at least by my definition, I recognize what I did. I recognize the pain done to me. I recognize the pain done by me, and I'm choosing to move past it.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I accept that as a definition.
So by that definition, J.K. Simmons has very much found his peace in this little pocket universe he has, where he spends time with his kids.
Yeah.
And he gets drawn as a little cuddly bear by his daughter every night. And he has made peace with that. He doesn't like being in a situation because he wants to see him grow up and he wants to walk his daughters down the aisle and all that.
Yeah.
But for the time being, he's found peace with where he's at, and he's no longer holding on to anger at Andy Samberg anymore. But he still kills him one more time for good, time's sake. But
it's alright, go to the side yard.
Go to the side yard, kills him in a trash can. But that also kind of triggers the idea that, hey, nihilism's kind of bullshit. What really matters in life is what you give meaning to.
Right.
What is the big or small things, and that's the overall moral of the lesson. Granted, after that point, it goes into, hey, Sarah coming back going, hey, I've studied quantum physics. I know what's happening. I know how to get out of it.
Right. Because she was experimenting with the goat.
Goat, yeah. Just kind of see what kind of wacky shit's gonna happen, and she finds a system that worked. I mean, granted, that's just the setup. It's not
she doesn't. She doesn't actually know that it works. She just knows that the goat wasn't around anymore.
That's true. So she's kind of it could work.
but basically, it created a result, right?
Yeah.
And then the idea is that either we go in and blow ourselves up and we fucking die, or we blow ourselves and we out of the time loop. So
blow ourselves up out of the time loop.
Yeah, up out of the time loop because
phrasing.
What?
You said blow yourself out of the time loop. It's oh my, that must be quite a good time.
I thought my way was fine and whatever.
Dirty mind kind of go there, but
yeah, it's just sort of the idea of her. I felt like her conviction to letting her choices matter.
Yeah, like, I mean, her arc in the movie is very much like, I'm not going to be defined by anyone else, I'm going to be defined by what I do.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, when it comes to what she's been doing this whole time, it's very much of her figuring shit out on her own, rather than kind of following along with whatever guy happens to be attracted to her at the time, which is kind of where she's been at up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of, like, figured out her own autonomy. So by the time she reunites with Adam Sandberg, is like, they do have the, of course, I love you moment towards the end, but very much of, what, dude? I've been busy. I haven't been thinking about you at all.
Yeah, man.
Like, not a cold way, just like, well, you've been moping. I've been trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah. What were you doing?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's sort of like at like you remember at the end of like Rick and Morty season 2 or something like that. And it's just like Mr. Poopy Butthole. It's just like, yeah, man. I went to college. I raised a family. What have you been doing?
But yeah, so and then of course it has like the happy ending and everything you expect like that, and it's like it's overall just it's a very, very, very good Groundhog Day movie.
Yeah, that's only 90 minutes.
It's a nice short movie. Lonely at Island makes some good shit. I have lots of respect for making movies, quite frankly, that are way better than they should be. Because they also with that pop music movie that was all about like Andy Samberg kind of pop career that was way funnier than it had any right to be.
Which one?
Oh God, it's gonna bug me now.
I don't know.
Look at Andy Samberg's filmography.
Because I think he did Hot Rod, right?
He also did Hot Rod. That was not a Lonely Island film, though.
Okay, well, I remember I watched Hot Rod.
Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping.
I never saw that.
It's actually really funny. You should go watch it.
Alright.
But yeah, so Palm Springs, really good. Probably in my top 10 this year.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
I'm not recording tomorrow.
No, it's the joke.
Oh, I get it.
The joke. Yeah,
Let me try again tomorrow. We'll get it right.
It's a callback to your. Never mind. Fucking ruined it.
We'll try again tomorrow.
No, we can't! Because our choices matter, Michael!
Fuck it. Good night, everybody.